Hi everybody, Alex Deployer from Expert Forex. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be looking at the 360-degree Forex indicator. Oh yeah, okay, we've got quite a nice group in the room. I recognize quite a few names, so welcome everybody. Now, the 360-degree indicator is actually quite an old indicator that we have on our automated MT4 indicators.com website. There's the actual link to the site, and it's been around for quite a while. I think the newer clients won't be aware of it all that much, but essentially it has two functions. It provides, and let me rather show it to you on the actual trading platform. It provides two bits of information. It provides the relative strength of currencies, and I'll go through that in a bit of detail to you. And then as almost a bonus to this is it provides an market overview, and there are all the normal tradable currencies of all the currencies and all the normal tradable time frames. You can actually view the readings of your favorite indicators. Now, I think there are only four on this particular one. There's the RSI, the CCI, the MACD, and the moving average. So you can actually view the status of those indicators for the whole market on all the time frames. Now, this is a huge time saver. If you're trading like I do, I trade the RSI quite extensively, and I always look for oversold and overbought signals. And by looking at the market like this, you can immediately see overbought and oversold signals arising. Now, as you can see, the market appears to be totally flat today, so there's not going to be much happening, but let's talk about this indicator. All right, let's have a look. No questions that have come in so far. Now, hopefully, actually, what I'll do is I'll doctor the settings so that we start getting some signals. But essentially, how this indicator works, or this is an actual EA, but is when you have three overbought or three oversold signals in a row, that is actually a trading signal. And why that is a trading signal is the market moves in waves. Now, on your screen at the moment is a 4-hour wave. So the market would move from oversold to overbought, and that would be like a wave that comes crashing down. Now, if you can get a wave crashing down on the 4-hour, a wave crashing down on the 1 hour, a wave crashing down on the 15-minute, now that is a very powerful wave, because you've got three waves coming crashing down on the market. And that's the kind of trades that you want to find, is where all the time frames are basically crashing down on or giving this similar signals. Now, the overbought or oversold readings don't say that it's a crashing down wave. What it does say is, hey, go and have a look at these. Have a look at these a little bit further, because they are building up to become crashing down waves. Now, does that make sense to everybody? That's a kind of signal you want to catch, is when all the RSIs on most of the time frames are all crashing, coming down, giving a sell signal, or the other way around, going up and giving a buy signal. Paul, don't worry, everybody is muted. I'm the only one that can talk at the moment. You can type if you want. Wouldn't you want the lowest time frame? No, you want all the time frames to have the same signal. You want to trade catching the wave in all, and when I say all the time frames, essentially I don't trade those the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 50 minute, but they are pretty good for scalpers who want to scalp a couple of pips every now and then. I really trade more or less in this zone, the hour, 4 hour daily. So what we're saying is we only need 3. Any 3 will do, and that is good enough. Now, what's happened is possibly, look, the market is flat, so nothing's happening. So today I can basically close the webinar. There's nothing much happening. Let's just go and have a look at the settings for this. So the settings basically, and we'll only focus on this one, but I'll come back to the other one. Basically, you can select which pairs you want to have a look at, and you can see I've selected most of the major ones. There are very few that are actually missing out of here. I've even put Bitcoin in there, and I've got gold in there, so it actually monitors those too. And I like using the RSI. You should know by now, and basically it's that might be the reason. Okay, it's running on a 14. I'm going to just change this to 4, and we'll see a different story now. And then I'm going to change that to 80, because that's normally what my settings are. Okay, so overbought 80, oversold 20, and I'm going for fast RSI. That's the one I normally trade with. I very seldom trade with another setting, and that setting seems to work pretty well on all time frames. Okay, let's go. All right, so and then in here, as you can see, you can do the CCI. You can also do the MACD and the moving average. I'll come back to those, but I'm going to focus on the RSI initially. So let's see, we're going to get a lot more signals now that I've set it to 4. 4 is more sensitive to the market's momentum, and we'll get some more signals. So I'm going to press OK. Let's see what that does. All right, so the first thing is this indicator's got two. It's got the relative strength side, and then it's got the combined readings for the indicators. You just by clicking on the currency strength tab, you can hide them. There's a few things with these tables. If you click on the name of the table, you can actually move it around wherever you want to. There's a whole lot of text. All right, so here we've got a potential trade because we've got 3 overbought signals on the CAD franc, and we also have on Bitcoin, we've got highly oversold, interesting enough, highly oversold signals on Bitcoin. So if you were a scalper, you must probably go and have a good look at Bitcoin right now, see what's going on there. If you are not a scalper, you would not take attention of those particular time frames, maybe the 15-minute, but certainly not the 5 and the 1. So we'll go and have a look at the CAD franc. I don't think I've got a setup for the CAD franc, so I'll have to create one for us. Let's have a look if there's any questions. What does the RSI shift do? I don't use the shift at all. It basically will just shift the RSI, but that mainly applies more to the moving average. Muting has nothing to do with your hearing. Muting means you are muted, you can't talk, but you should be able to hear. It's just a question that's come through. When the 3 Cs are aligned, you trade any of those 3 now or go to the smallest time frame? No, you go and investigate what is the best. There is no rule or guideline. All it's saying is, hey, there's something going on here on the CAD franc, go and investigate. So let's go and investigate. So I'll go and just, I can do this most probably. I'll move to a new profile. I must just warn you, the internet has been dropping on my side quite a bit. If it does happen, just stick around, and I have got a backup internet here, and I'll get going within a minute or two. I'll be up and running again, but for some reason the internet has been dropping. So that is the default. I'll just kill it, and we'll create another one, and we were going to create it for the I've forgotten, the Aussie franc. And anybody, Aussie franc, I think it was. No, the CAD franc, yeah, CAD franc. There we are. Okay, so we'll go and have a look at what's going on there. As I say, I'm doing this from scratch, so this is also quite good for you to see this. CAD franc. I'm going to just do another one. I just will do another one. CAD franc. Sort them out, and I'll make that one the daily, that one the 4 hour, that one the hour, and that's already the hour, and that one the 15 minutes. And I have got a template, I think, for the RSI. Let's do it there. Template RSI, and so you see that's quite quick. I mean, people ask me for profiles and things like that, and I can do something in a minute. I really get a bit concerned. Okay, so what we're saying here, and here you can clearly see the daily is overbought, the 4 hours overbought, the 1 hour is overbought, and the 15 minutes is building up for an overbought. It isn't there right now. So all this has told us is, hey, go and have a look at what's going on with the CAD franc. Now, it doesn't mean that we have to trade or anything like that. And what I would then do is I would start looking for trading signals. Now, as you know, I like trading the trend line violation on the RSI. Here's one building up here. Not a great one, but not a bad one. There's almost a divergence going on. Very strong upward movement there, but this is going sideways. So there's and that trend line is a little bit too steep for me to be completely comfortable with this. But there's already one building up there. So at the moment, I don't think there's a trade happening, although this looks like it is starting to hit resistance. It's going to hit resistance. There's resistance. Boom, boom. Yeah, that looks like first time lucky. So when it gets there, there's you see, in Forex trading, you're just stacking the odds in your favor. When it gets there, it's highly likely to bounce down, and I would almost put a sell trade right there. It's only another 15 pips and it'll get to that resistance, and you could almost put a sell signal up there. But so just coming back to that signal that we got, it's not a trading signal. You still have to do analysis work to decide how you're going to trade it. You still need to say, all right, if I do trade this, where am I going to put my that's where I'm going to put my target. Boom, 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 boom. Yep, that looks like a good level. Go a bit more up. Yeah, that looks like a good level. So for instance, if I had to trade this, I must probably do something. Yeah, no, that's a level of support resistance. You could put your stop. That could be your stop. That could be your target, or your stop could even be a little bit higher up there, depending on your risk. But I would say that would be enough, because it is so overcooked already. This particular one, it's heading for. One of the things I like looking at, for instance, is I like saying, all right, if it's at that level now, let's see what happened in the past when it reached that level. And every time it reached that level, you'll see it came down. Even there it came down. There it came down a little bit, not as much as we would have wanted to, and certainly over there it came down with quite a nice drop. So that's a pretty safe level that you can start saying, hey, this thing wants to go down now. You need to watch it. Okay, Frank. Okay, all right. So let's go back to our, that's now the default. I'm not going to save this, but that's the kind of analysis that this will point you towards. It will say, look, this currency is becoming overbought or oversold. You need to start looking at it. And by the way, I am a retracement trader. Very early in my career, I decided I'm going to be a retracement trader. I only look for trends that get exhausted and then create a new trend. That's the way I trade, and it's very important that early in your trading career you decide, are you a breakout trader or are you a bounce trader? I would classify myself as a bounce trader. I look for exhaustion and then I trade the other way. Most of the good traders actually do that. Breakouts also do work. For instance, here's a breakout, what could be regarded as a breakout trade on the daily. If you see that there's a trend line break there, the entry would have been on that when that happened. I'll just increase that. Now many would say that's a breakout trade. I would still call it a oh, okay, what's happened? Yeah, you see it happens very early in a trend, so that could be regarded as a breakout trade because it's actually broken a trend line. See, there's a trend line going down there, so that would be regarded as a breakout trade. If I put a sell up there on that green line, that would be regarded as, and it does come up there and bounce, that would be a bounce trade. And those are the ones that I've traded both of them because this is technically also a bounce. You're trading the first candle that's bouncing. All right, let's go back to the indicator. So there's nothing here that we can look at, but all it's done is it's told us which currencies to look at, because if you look at the, let's go back to, I think it was the euro. There you are. Come on, come back. It resets itself. So I click on there and move it to the middle, and I hide that one. And if you want to see it a little bit more clearly, increase the size quite nicely. So we've had a look at that, and as I say, at the moment the market is flat. And what this does is it keeps you out of flat markets, because you don't want to trade when the market's flat. You really don't want to do that. And this will tell you when the market, like now, market's pretty flat. All right. Any questions on this so far? Because we've almost covered most of the content. Basically, you look for three, and it will tell you potential trade. You go and look at the charts and see if you can find a trade. If you can't, you can move on. I think we can look at the pounds. Look for three on the same side. You need to, the three have to be in a horizontal line. Like that doesn't really count as a, and also on the 5-minute chart, I don't want to get into analyzing 5-minute charts at this stage. They have to be in a row like that. Unfortunately, they're not even close. I mean, look at this. This is terrible. Yeah, in a row, 1 hour, 4 hour daily is what happened there, or 15 minute, 1 hour, 4 hours also okay, that kind of thing. I wouldn't go much lower than that. That's me personally. If you are a scalper, certainly this would help. Now, what do you do when this happens? One of the things you can do, and I wouldn't recommend it, but if you're really desperate to trade, is you lower your standards. You say, all right, maybe I'll make 75, 25 the overbought and oversold. Let's see if that brings more trades into the... I don't think you can change four. I wouldn't even touch, because I've been trading that for 10 years, the 4. I've tried 3 and I've tried 5 and they don't work. 4 is the best. And that's just... now let's see if we get any different signals from that. Still not. We've even dropped our standards. We've actually said overbought and oversold is a lot looser, and look at that, we still... So the market is pretty flat. I'm not quite sure, I haven't had a look, but there might be an announcement going on and the market's just hanging around waiting for that result to come through. All right. The auto trade, look, this isn't a trade. This is a trading tool. It's not a trading. It tells you where there's potential. It doesn't trade for you. So auto trading can be off. As you can see, it's working. It's live. It's adjusting the settings as they are happening. There seems to be something going on in the market right now. So maybe something will happen. You can see the franc yippie is starting to build up for something here, but it's not quite there yet. How do you move it around? You click on the name, and it activates the frame. It activates the frame. You see, there it has no frame. There it has the frame, and then you can move it around wherever you want. What is the cost? Okay, I'll show you where you can find this. Sorry, that's most probably the first thing I should have shown you. But this, as I say, this is pretty old one. Right, before I show you that, I'm going to just show you the other element of this, because it doesn't look like anything's happening here tonight. We can stick around for a long time and we'll find a few, but certainly even that CAD franc wasn't looking too good. There doesn't seem to be any potential ones happening at all. Okay, so now we're switching off the other side of things. The multi-period is now being... sorry, one of the things I didn't show you was... I'll just switch that off, was the other indicators. And I'm not going to talk about them because, quite honestly, I don't use them. I don't know them. But some of our clients have asked, can we put the CCI in? So we did put the CCI. That's not showing any... the RSI has a measurement between 0 and 100. So that's what's nice about it. The CCI doesn't have a limit, so it can go to 200 if it wants to. It can go to all kinds of places, and it can go to minus funny numbers. So we've got a minus 68 up there, and minus. So it works in a slightly different basis. But as you can see, again, even with the CCI, there are no particular signals. With the MACD, let's have a look at the MACD. All right, there's the MACD. All right, now look at that. It's showing a lot of trades. And again, what one has to be wary of is how you use the MACD. But what it's saying here, and those don't, I mean, minus 11 compared to minus 350, the variation is a little bit too high. But again, what you would do is you take each potential trade and have a look at it in a little bit more detail. I think that the settings for this one, they are not, are too too lax. They should actually be tighter so that you don't get as many. If you're getting too many potential trades, it means that your settings for your indicator could be too. You see, those are the standard settings. I wonder if we will, if we really go tight on this one. I just want to see what that does. Yeah, that looks like a little bit better. But you see now you're getting. Oops, no, still not right. Nice. No, that hasn't improved it much. I don't use the MACD much, so I'm sorry, I can't even comment on it. The moving average, basically the moving average basically tells you if, and let's go and have a look at the setting for the moving average. 14. I'm going to take, this is the magic moving average setting, 4 offset by 4. And let's just see what kind of readings we get with that. That should give you pretty good readings. 4 offset by 4 gives you, I'll just hide that again. Okay, look at that, that's almost identical. Oops, no, I keep on saying that. All right, so the moving average, basically what it does is it's saying that on these time frames, all of these are in a buy mode. So in the higher time frames, this is in a buy mode, and you'd have to go and have a look. That's in a buy mode, that's in a sell mode, So all it's really telling you is that we've got 3 time frames that are, or 4 time frames that are all in a sell mode. Or here we've got 5 time frames that are all in a buy mode. Now, when you're trading the moving average quite a lot, that might mean something to you. Basically, to me, what it would mean is that when is it going to come out of the buy mode into the sell mode? So you can see it's already starting to cross over on the shorter time frames, but it's still a long way to go on the longer time frames. But again, my speciality is the RSI, so I'm not going to even talk about this one for a while. All right, so let's move on to the currency strength indicator. What is the number in MA dashboard distance to the moving average? Yes, that's exactly it. It's the I think it's the pip difference to the moving average. So where the price is now and where the moving average is now, that difference, it's a pip difference. Okay, so the question is coming, so have you ever found out why a trend line violation on the RSI works? Yes, I know why the trend line violation works. Okay, let's just work like that. So the question comes in, it's slightly off topic, but it is related to the RSI settings. Remember the signal that I'm looking for is I'm looking for an overbought, oversold environment, at least 2 really well-formed waves. That's 2 really well-formed waves, and possibly a divergence. Now there's no divergence there, although I can't even see I know that there's no divergence there because this is going up, and it can't have a divergence. Now, so the minute it crosses over, now with the RSI, let's say look at what it's telling us here. What it's telling us is that this is a volatile currency because it goes from overbought, oversold. It bounces quite a lot, so it's a nice volatile. You want to trade that because you make money out of trends. So firstly, it's volatile. Pity there's no divergence there, otherwise that's another signal I like looking for. And then what you'll find in practice, if you've traded this live, you'll find that this leg here is very sensitive. In other words, it happens very quickly and very early in the trend. So that violation that happens there is often on the very first candle that occurs. Now let's see, why haven't I got... Oh yeah, you see, I've whited out all the information that I have on there, but that's essentially, this is the 4 hours. So let's just see, maybe I can find it. The Euro Oz. No, this is not the Euro Oz. 4 hour. Doesn't look the same. Doesn't quite look. Yeah, maybe that's it. Could be. Okay, oh well, here's a good example. I'm going to take that example. In fact, if we look back over the last few trades, and these things zigzag, you can trade them just continuously. Like the next one will come over here. That one's happened, and if we look at now, the question was why the trend line. Look how early. Can you see how early in the trend that signal happens? And let's just try this one. Right, yeah, it's on the first blue candle. That was pretty early in that massive trend. So overall, the signal that you get is a very early signal, very early, and that only comes from experience, from trading thousands of. Then you realize, hang on, this is an exceptional indicator because it gives early signals. Do you draw the trend line only on the and then comparing? No. I don't only use this signal. I use support resistance. I use all kinds of other stuff. This is just let's say a qualifying signal. You still have to decide where you're going to put your stop, where you're going to, and you also have to decide which time frame you're going to trade. There's a great sell signal. It seems like it happened on the daily too. There we are. Daily had a divergence, which is quite nice. So that particular sell signal that came down there, that one with the two mounds, was well supported with other sell signals all over. All over there were good sell signals. Even here, there's a channel breakout. This is a badly drawn channel, so I'll just redraw it. This must be more correct doing it that way. See, that's more of a channel, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the breakout. Okay, there's no rules with these things. In other words, don't trade if this isn't right or that isn't right. Overall, you've got to balance it all out and say there's 60% chance or there's 70% chance. And sometimes I do trade against some of the signals. Like I might get a buy signal here, but I'm going to sell. I just say no, I won't even look at that buy signal. I think, but in general, the weekly and daily momentum is what should drive your trades. In other words, you can see that's going down, that's going down. So you should only be looking for sells when you see big signals on the daily and the weekly. I don't want a particular signal. I just want to say that's pointing down. That's good enough to tell me it's the momentum's down. That's pointing down. That's good enough. So if I want to take a sell trade and I see those kind of things happening there, then I'll take it. because or if it's hitting itself against the top of resistance, doesn't even have to be that kind of signal. If it's actually just hitting against resistance, I'll take a sell down here. So it's a combination of things that apply. There's no particular rules. You have to see the same signal on three charts or whatever. All right, sorry, that was a long answer and a very vague answer, I guess. But certainly the trend line violation is a leading signal. Yeah, the first webinar I forgot to record, but since then, strangely enough, they have brought in, GoToWebinar has brought in a facility where when you start the webinar, it will automatically record the webinar. So that's a fantastic facility because there's so much happening at the start of a webinar. Sometimes people forget to press the record button. So it is recorded. All right, let's have a look at the other side of things, which is over here. Okay, so watch this. I click on, and then the frame arrives, and then you can change it to wherever you want. Now we don't need the RSI now, so put that away, and we don't need the multiple, the current. We don't need that one really. Want the currency. All right, I'm just going to talk very briefly about the currency strength, because again, you must decide how you're going to use this information. But basically, it will tell you very accurately, and these are all pips that you see. All of these are pips. So basically, what it's saying in the last day, for instance, in the last day, the New Zealand dollar has been the strongest currency, and the Canadian has also been strong, and the yen has been strong. The weakest currency has been the franc and the pound. So that's basically, it's basically a historical thing. There's the history in the last day. Then if you want to look at that in a little bit more detail, then you can say, all right, the New Zealand strengthened by 282 pips, and which currencies did it strengthen against? And you can actually see here which currency it's strengthened. There's the 282. You see this changes, so because it's pip based. So you can see that the biggest change happened on the pound New Zealand. Okay, and then if you want to then look at the New Zealand dollar in a little bit more detail, the 280, you want to look at that in a little bit more detail. You can then, on this third one, is a table only of the New Zealand dollar compared to all its trading partners over certain periods. Now you'll notice these periods are not your normal time zone. They are sort of more comparison periods rather than trading periods. And you can then see, again, back to this daily, you can see the pound was the one that it was strongest against, because it's strengthened compared to the pound. Now, what does that mean? So let's just try and work this out. That means the pound New Zealand, I hope I get this right, must have gone down in the last day. So what we do is go and check that out. The pound New Zealand. Oh, there we go. So in the last day, the pound New Zealand has gone down. That's the 4-hour chart. So there we are. It's got a red candle on the daily. So basically, it's just giving you another perspective of what's going on in the market. The pound has weakened against the New Zealand, and that's why that has gone down in the last 6 candles by 100 pips. Now let's just see if that is right. 200 pips. Now I'm not quite sure why that was reading 200 pips. So it's probably 100 plus 100, the pound and the New Zealand. But that's basically what that, let's go back to it, that basically says. Now, the idea behind it originally, when it comes back, there we go. The idea behind it is to trade the weakest currency against the strongest currency. So if you know that the New Zealand dollar is the, now look, that's gone to 300, that's closer to the reading that we had. If we know that the New Zealand dollar is the strongest currency at the moment, and we know that the franc is the weakest currency, then what you should be trading the one against the other. Trade the strongest currency against the weakest currency to get the best result. So that's the idea behind this particular one. I personally find this a little bit historical. I prefer the RSI again, which is a leading indicator, and this I find doesn't help when the it doesn't help. It helps with a trend trader. If you're with a trend trader and you say, oh, I'm going to buy the strongest currency and I'm going to sell the weakest currency, then you are with the trend trader, and this will help you a lot, because that's a good thing to do. Both of them have to change, you know, for your transaction to fail. If you buy the weakest, the strongest currency, and you're selling the weakest currency, you have a good chance of success. If you believe in with the trend continuous trading. All right. Now, just another thing that I must point out here is that there's a lot of additional information that comes with our EAs. Very few people look at this market information. And this has only been going for a short while, this particular one. It's only literally a few minutes. But if you leave your chart open for a day or so, you'll be amazed what the maximum spreads are, what the average spreads are, and what the current spread. You'll literally be amazed. I mean, if you did this over a weekend, this can go up to 40. The maximum spread can go up to 40 over a weekend. So that's pretty important information for you to know what spread you are being charged by your broker, and what the maximum spread possibly could be at certain times. The brokers do increase the spreads tremendously around announcements and weekends and things like that. It also gives you information. Remember, if you were at any of our other webinars, there was always a question: what is the pip value and what is the margin value? Well, here it is. It will tell you for the euro Oz that the pip value for this broker is 7.64, and the margin required for a main lot is 296. So it actually extracts information that MT4 doesn't provide you. There's a lot of additional nice to know stuff here. Especially the margin is something that I use all the time for my double-in-one trade activities. And also, as I say, you'll get quite shocked if you start looking at the spread stuff. Then there's some other information which is more let's say technical, but it does tell you sometimes the memory plays quite a big role in this. In using MT4, but what it's saying is that this is currently using about 3 megs, and there's still quite a lot left, and all that type of thing. So this is just technical, but if you do find problems with your EAs, one of the things to have a look here is, are you stressing your computer by any chance by having the EA maybe on too many currencies and things like that. This will tell you what the problem, if there are any particular problems. But so you that market information one, and you'll find them on all of our EAs, and there's a lot more, because this isn't a trading EA. We don't show you the open deals and the profits to date and all those kind of things. That all gets shown there. All right, let's have a look. Are there any questions on this particular one? The one question was, how much is it? Okay, so let's move back to the website. So it's on this automated mt4indicators.com website. There is the address. You can basically copy it straight off your screen as you see it. You should be able to. I'm not sure if that's possible, but essentially, as it says there, you can develop a feel for the relative strength of currencies. You can also get and then there's the second element. So it's basically a double-sided indicator here, and then you can look at the global market. That's why it's called a 360-degree indicator. It looks at the whole market, all the time frames, all the currencies in one go, and it then looks at the whole market, and you can basically trade just looking at this, or not trade, but you can identify potential areas. Now that the euro yen over there was highly sold there, so I mean that's almost a guaranteed trade, that one. All right, and then the website gives you suggested strategies and things like that. What we've done is we've built as much training information into our actual websites to help you with these type of things. And let's have a look. What is the price? Okay, so it's not it's $49.95. If you're an existing client, you get 50% off. If you buy with Bitcoin, you get 30% off whatever price you get. So if you get 50% off, you'll get an extra 30% off there. So Bitcoin clients are and there are the settings that I showed you earlier. You can have a look at those, and that's the format that the indicator comes in. So it's all shown on this marketing site for the 350-degree indicator. There's a lot of information. Please visit the site if you're interested in this indicator. All right. Any questions, remarks, comments? Let's have a look. I think I've covered all the questions that have been asked. I'm just reading through them quickly. The Aussie yen trade hit target, the one you took the other. Oh yes, I don't know if you got my email, but yes, that was quite interesting. I think here it is. Let's go and look at the Aussie yen. Okay, it only just hit the target. Look at that. We did take in a live trading session. We did take this trade, which was based on the daily overbought, oversold, two beautiful waves there, trend line violation. This one had a very nice divergence, which is what I also look for quite a lot. So purely on that. Took the trade over there. There's the entry and there's the exit. You can see it just spiked and took the target, lucky, and there it is on the 4 hour. So now the 4 hour conflicts with the 1 hour. The 4 hour started showing sell signals. You see, it actually can you see when it crossed over there, that was a sell signal, and that's that dip that you see there, and luckily it went up again, but that was actually very close to a sell signal. But certainly look on the weekly trade, and that's why I say that the weekly and the daily charts are pretty important. Perfect signal. I mean, that's absolutely perfect. Overbought, oversold, two nice waves, trendline violation, boom, she goes. And that's why I took that trade, because the weekly was pushing it, the daily was pushing it, and although the short term wasn't, I took that trade. And let's just have a look. Oh, there's the results.